Alright, in case you didn't see my Leon video, I'm doing separate videos for the new character and the patch notes. If you want to see the new character Leon, click on the link in the description below because this video is for everything else that's coming in OB54 that I haven't covered, and man, do I hope it's not too long of a video. Like always, let's talk about the cosmetics first. Guys, it's Christmas in July! The festive box is making a return. It'll have everything in it had last time, and it'll also have some new things in it as well. It'll have two fantastic new epic skins. The first of those I want you guys to see is Direwolf Tyra. Look at that! Everything about this is so awesome! The wolf cloak, the wolf gun, the fire even turns into acid. I love it so much. This skin comes with a head, body, weapon, voice pack, and spray. There's also Ice Walker Inara, which is just as incredible. Inara is one of the two tanks I actually like to play, so I'm really glad they gave her this skin. A Lady Liberty skin was data mined for her, but a Smite character seemed to end up getting it instead. That's far from a bad thing though. I mean, look at this skin. Inara went from a caring, motherly-like figure to an evil Ice Queen. You have some competition now for that Ice Queen spot, Eevee. Not that I'm not rooting for you. Anyway, this comes with a head, body, weapon, voice pack, and spray as well. You can roll the head, body, and spray from both skins together. Head, body, and voice pack from both skins together, and the weapon and spray separately. So these two skins together add 6 more rolls to the box. If you got everything in the box the last time it came around like I did, then you only need to spend 600 crystals to get all the new stuff. The boxes are, of course, 100 crystals a pop. It doesn't look like there'll be a quest for a free one this time around, though. That's it for the cosmetics. They aren't adding any mastery rewards for any characters with this update. It's sad, but Leanne looks pretty cool, so I'll let it slide. Let's talk about what they're doing to the economy of the game. Everyone has been asking for fixes to the economy, and we're finally getting them. They're making it so you'll be able to unlock cards faster. They'll be reducing the essence cost for all cards and keeping their duplicate values the same. Legendaries are going from 12,000 to 10,000. Epics are going from 5,000 to 4,000. Uncommon is going from 1,250 to 1,000. And common from 500 to 350. The daily login bonuses are also getting messed with. Day 4 will give 250 essence instead of gold. Day 5 will give 500 essence instead of gold, and Day 6 will give 1000 essence instead of 15 crystals. That sucks. I have over 300,000 essence. I rather have the crystals. Don't go blaming the people who want the essence system fixed for this either. Hi-Rez didn't have to go and do this. They feel that 1000 essence is a good thing to give us in exchange for 15 crystals, but again, I have more essence than I'll ever know what to do with. At least let us convert essence to gold and vice versa on a 1-for-1 scale, please. Weekly quests are also getting messed with. Gold quests will give increased gold from 750 to 1250. These are the play this many games as this class quests. The quests for playing or winning games will now give 1000 essence instead of gold. Now let's talk about the non-essence part of the economy. Radiant boxes will now have 33% more of a chance to drop cosmetic items. Character prices are going up. 4,000 gold ones are going to 5,000, 5,000 ones are going to 7,500, and 7,500 ones are going to 12,500. If there's a character you don't have and you have the gold for them, I'd buy them now, or if you're saving up for Leon, keep that gold close. Gold prices for common and uncommon cosmetics are also going up, but the crystal prices for them are going down. It's like around a 30% gold cost increase for the cosmetics. The XP needed for levels 1 to 50 is also getting reduced. Your total XP will not though, so after this update you'll find that you gained a few levels because the XP had to go somewhere. You'll also get the boxes from those level ups. The Dry Bear Announcer Pack is going from 1 gold to 200 crystals with this update, so buy it if you haven't, even if you think you'll never use it. You may find that one day you want to. It's better to have it than to not, right? The test queue will have an Onslaught map called Tilted in it. Wonder why they named it that? The Flare Box is also 30% off this weekend if that interests you. Now for the balance. They are reworking a lot of legendary cards this update. They want to make the weak ones better and get rid of a lot of the movement ones. I know, that sounds a little heartbreaking. They feel that movement legendaries make for a lot of frustrating experiences for the people that have to fight them. I bet some of you have hated fighting things like a Bounce House Buck or a Darkstalker Andrew at some point. In my opinion, they did a lot of good and a lot of bad with these reworks. Let's go ahead and get into them. Andro's Darkstalker legendary is getting reworked. It'll now make him deal 30% more damage to targets under 40% health. So, like a weaker Death Hastens. Damage boosting legendaries are pretty dumb. It messes with the time to kill and throws a lot of the more skilled play out the window. Movement legendaries encourage skilled play, both for the one using it and the one fighting it. The one fighting it arguably had to do more work though. I'm sorta okay with them cutting down on mobility, but adding flat damage legendaries like this isn't good for the game either. Moving on to Ashe, her projectiles will now automatically detonate further from enemies. Her legendary Fortress Breaker will now make your barrier 50% bigger. One of the barrier's biggest problems was that it was too small, so this is pretty good. It'll help out solo tank Ashes a bit. Barrack's Tinkering legendary will now make his weapon fire a 650 damage slug. This is awesome. I can definitely see people running this over his turret legendary against certain team comps now. I used to really like Barrack. He was a tank I always ran before I kind of forced myself to get off of tanks and start disliking them. Buck's Bounce House legendary is being reworked. Heroic Leap will now deal 450 damage and knock up enemies within 35 feet of where you land. Now, here's another thing. Adding CC to replace movement doesn't eliminate frustrating experiences from the game at all. It adds more. No one likes being CC'd. Getting any sort of control of your character taken away never feels good. At the very least, knockup isn't too bad of a CC. I feel like losing Bounce House for this will really make Buck's viability plummet though. They really should have made him something else. His Ensnare legendary will now give a 60% damage bonus instead of a 40% one as well. Bomb King is getting Accelerant reworked. It will now make Grumpy Bomb explode 50% faster. Because again, CC is so fun, right? This is a pretty big hit to BK2. Accelerant was a big part of him, and now it's replaced with this. Demolition will now go through barriers as well as destroying them, so you can break their barriers and make them easier to kill. I do wonder how good this will end up being. Cassie's Impulse legendary will now also reduce the cooldown of Blast Shot by 2 seconds. Her Big Game legendary is also getting buffed up. After hitting an enemy with disengage, subsequent attacks will deal an additional 5% of their maximum health as damage for 6 seconds. For tank heavy comps, this will probably be really good because without a doubt, you'll melt them. However, outside of tank heavy comps, the bonus damage on roll will be 100% better every time. The ability to deal over 900 damage per arrow and be able to roll around infinitely is so good. I'm honestly surprised they didn't nerf Incitement to not give you an instant reset. They're cutting down the game's mobility, but aren't hitting one of the most powerful movement builds in the game. I get that you have to be pretty skilled to get those infinite rolls, but that's a ton of value to give to anyone, and it is absolutely awful to deal with a Cassie that never stops rolling, does a ton of damage, and gets lifesteal off that damage. 40% per arrow. Now Drogos. Oh man, my heart stopped when they said his name. Thankfully they aren't reworking Wormjets. They're just reducing it from 65% to 40%. I'm glad they understand that Wormjets isn't difficult to deal with and are willing to keep it. When Drogos is in the air, his tail hangs down, basically doubling his hitbox size anyway, so it's not like he's hard to hit. The 25% nerf is definitely noticeable, but at least us dragons will still get to go faster than normal. Good luck catching me without Darkstalker now, Andro. Come try. I dare you. I'm gonna regret that. Eevee is getting Over the Moon reworked. This one probably isn't getting hit because it's unfun to play against. I mean, no one ever uses it, so it's probably getting reworked because of that. It will now make you deal 20% more damage for 3 seconds after Soar ends, so this could be pretty good, especially since they're nerfing Reprieve. That's right, it'll now heal for 300 per second instead of 600, so only half of your total health and not the whole thing. I love Eevee so much, but I can still admit that Reprieve was awful to play against. It was pretty much a get out of jail free card. Now you have to be a little more careful about what you're getting yourself into. Unfortunately, they are also hitting her teleport card. The values will be reduced from 25, 50, 75, 100% to 10, 20, 30, 40%. Damn, is that a huge nerf. I'm worried for her now. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Fernando is getting his Fireball legendary buffed. It'll make Fireball's projectile speed go from 140 to 180 and will take 3 seconds off its cooldown. This is gonna be fun. I think the nature of Fernando basically being a moving barrier is gonna keep him from being in the meta, but at least he's getting better. To compensate for this though, they're messing with his Hot Pursuit card. Its duration is going from 3 to 2 seconds. They didn't want all the fireballs making Fernando into a constant speed demon. Grover's Ferocity legendary is getting its damage scaling increased from 30% to 60%. Okay, I'm not going to say much because I don't know how else you'd make this legendary better. They had to find some way to make it get picked over rooting sometimes at least. It's just that his axes aren't very hard to hit anymore, and that's a ton of damage if you snipe somebody. And this is a little side thing, but Blossom won't heal deployables anymore. Inara's Treacherous Ground legendary will increase the radius of Warder's field by 50%. Tremors is getting reworked to reduce the cooldown of Impasse by 80% if it isn't destroyed. If you see an Inara with this, then trust me, you want Bulldozer. These are good buffs, but I do see Mother's Grace still being the best one in most games. But again, buy Bulldozer. You do not want to deal with constant walls. That sounds like a nightmare. Lex's turn. Man, any kind of buff to Lex doesn't sit well with me. But oh well. Discovery is being reworked to deal 20% more damage to your Retribution target and reduce Retribution's cooldown by 15 seconds. You know, if this gets Lex players off of Def Hastens, I won't complain at all. Alright, Maeve time. Please be a good one. Cat Burglar is being reworked to make your first attack do 30% more damage after Prowl. Right, so I have to prowl up to somebody and hope they don't hear the loud, constant noise from Prowl so I can attack them without them reacting. Right? Sounds good. Man. Makoa's Leviathan legendary will now give his alt the CC immunity that they previously took away. It doesn't say if this replaces the health or adds on to it. If it adds on to it, then this is a fantastic legendary. If it replaces it, then it isn't worth it in most cases. I mean, Drogos is gonna punch it anyway, right? Maldamba's Spirit's Chosen legendary will now apply whether or not you have Mending Spirits on your target. Wakono's Wrath will now be reworked to give Snake Toss 500 more damage. On top of that, Maul is getting a flat buff that'll make Snake Toss always do 200. Now his damage is pretty low, so I really don't mind them giving him some on the toss. Pip's Acrobatics card is being reworked. It will now remove CC and make you immune to it during its duration. I think this is much worse than the old Acrobatics. I don't see this ever being picked over Mega Potion or Catalyst at all. Ruckus's Recycler legendary is being replaced with Overdrive. This will make him do up to 30% more damage based on your missing health. Hey, I kinda like it. High risk and high reward. Not positive on if it'll be better than Aerial Assault, but hey, I'm eager to see. Recycler was pretty pointless anyway. He's also getting a card rework. Fuel reserves will now increase the distance of advance by 7, 14, 21, and 28%. Ceres is getting the size of her orbs buffed up from 2.5 to 3, so they can be a bit easier to hit. The projectile speed buff was nice, but the size became a little too small, I agree. Okay, now this is a nightmare. Shaolin, dear God. Desert Shadow will now give 30% more damage to the attack that breaks stealth. 1,300 damage arrow right there. That's not the worst of it. Shifting Sands is the worst of it, because it'll make it so killing blows with planted will reset it. Look at this. I know it's against bots, and it's like the best case scenario and all, but still, this is horrific. They took one of the most hated abilities in the game and did this. It's high risk, high reward, and I've defended it in the past, but what the fuck? This hurts to look at. Oh my god. Anyway, moving on. Torv's Direct Current legendary is being reworked to give Runic Blast 500 damage. I like this. Torv is in need of some good buffs. Right now he's kind of a walking alt charge. Tyra's Firebombs will now damage deployables, and her Hunting Party legendary is getting an increase in team bonus damage from 15 to 25%. Put that on a tank and watch them fall. I think this legendary will finally get some use. Sorry to all you tanks though, you guys already had it rough before this update. I commend you for playing them though, really, I love you guys. You guys make my job so much easier. Okay, God, I'm finally done. The script was 4 pages and about 2,500 words. For me, that's a lot. I don't want to talk anymore. I'm gonna go play Leon. Tell me what you think about the pad. Thanks for watching. See ya.